So if you could tell us who you are and where you come from and why you're here.
My name is Mike Bremer, and I'm from Chicago, which is where I'm originally from.
Mm,
And I was part of the Francis of Assisi Catholic Worker House for about 5 years,
I see.
and that was about 15 years ago. And in those 5 years, I actually never came to a gathering,
Wow.
mostly because somebody had to watch the house, and
Right.
I had never been here,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't know the good time I was missing. It was sort of kept a secret. So I stayed back with,
Keep him dumb so we can keep him there.
yeah, I don't know if that was conscious or unconscious.
You're
but
right.
That's the dynamic that happened. And then sometime after not living at the house, but being still part of the community, living in the neighborhood, I decided to come out. And that was maybe 15 years ago.
Once a Catholic worker, always a Catholic worker, right?
That's what I say. I say I come. I'm owed these visits as part of the Catholic
Yeah,
worker,
you have some credit built up.
alumni, but I've been going on that for a long time.
All right, great.
But it's fun, and it's also a great spirit.
What brought you to the Catholic work in the first place?
Well, I'm one of those people who didn't really think about it before coming in. And at Francis of Assisi House, we would joke that if people come and visit and they think about moving in, they never will. You just have to get them to move in. So I was sort of tricked into moving in, but it was a good trick. I actually needed a place to stay for a month. So I moved into the house. I had the privilege of my own room in the attic. The other men slept on the other side of the attic with 15 homeless men on mattresses on the floor. And little by little, I took on more and more responsibilities, cooking. I worked with the Spanish-speaking guest because I'm fluent in Spanish.
So you must have spent some time in Central America.
I had lived in Nicaragua and Panama. I was a Catholic seminarian in Panama for a couple of years.
I see.
So I just fit in, found a place, liked it, liked the people, found
Right.
good energy, found a sense of purpose and mission. I was also a peace activist at the time.
One of them radicals.
Um,
Oh, you weren't
My
quite
wife-
radical yet?
I was getting there. I was part of an action at a missile site, Minuteman II missile. We're no longer there, I'm proud to say, in Missouri. So we occupied, 14 of us occupied missiles in Missouri. This was in 1988.
So, like most people here, you spent some time in jail.
I spent 6 months in federal prison. 2 months of that in solitary confinement by my own choice.
Ah,
I had to work to get thrown into solitary,
I see.
and actually wanted that quiet and contemplative time. So
Did you at least have some books to read?
I had books to read. I had visits, and I don't mean to belittle it because for most prisoners, solitary is a horrible
Yeah,
thing.
right.
But for me, it was again a choice.
A meditative space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in it for 7 weeks, and that was enough. You know.
Yeah. So, what projects are you working on now, and where's your life in relation to the worker now?
I live with my wife and 2 children on the south side of Chicago, and
Heavily black neighborhoods,
it's a black and Mexican neighborhood.
Mexicans too.
We are involved in the community. We don't do a hospitality like we did at St. Francis House. The space just doesn't allow for it.
Sure.
We have had guests, but usually one person over the years.
Yeah.
We had a Guatemalan man and his father stayed with us for about 6 months when my first son was born.
Wow.
and we've had guests over the years, but mostly we do work with kids since we have kids in the neighborhood. Homework groups after school,
Wow.
outings with kids. The block club party is a big event on our block. So we have a presence there that is beneficial to us
And
to people around us, we hope.
yeah, and you're obviously not one of the not too many quote unquote white people there, right?
Yeah, we're the only
You're the only ones. Yeah, I mean
4 miles,
4 miles. Wow,
I would say. But
that is
probably
amazing.
true. Yeah. The fact that I speak Spanish erases some of that barrier
Yes.
with my
There's
neighbors.
definitely a bridge there.
That's a strong bridge. And I find myself being a bridge between the Hispanic community and the black community.
Issues there between the Hispanics and blacks.
There's some tension sometimes. And for the most part, people get along and
Sure.
tolerate each other well.
Yeah.
And we have a block of neighbors that are very some excellent people.
Community oriented type people.
Community oriented, watch out for each other,
Neighborhood.
their kids, and when I deal with some of my family or relatives and friends who say, "You live in that neighborhood," and my response is, "It's a perfectly good bad neighborhood."
That's right. I don't even want to drive through there, and you live there.
We have that issue, and we feel that because sometimes family or just people we get to meet when they learn where we live, they don't want to come and to visit us. They're happy to have us visit them.
Sure.
And for our kids, they don't want to send their kids into our neighborhood.
Okay, great. Well, wonderful, Mike. We'll wrap it up there. Otherwise, the video gets a bit too long. So next year, whenever you show up again, we'll do another one and see how things have moved along.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's hard to know if you're talking about the most relevant things, but
Hey,
it's kind of whatever comes to mind.
Everybody's relevant. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.